Hi, everyone. This is Reddit Storytell Time.
My own mother looked me dead in the eye and said, "If you can't afford it, stay behind. You're a worthless failure." Then she turned around and stole $7,000 from my bank account to fund their luxury vacation to Italy. What I did next wasn't just revenge. It was complete and utter annihilation. They're still picking up the pieces. And honestly, they deserved every second of it. If you've ever felt the burning desire for justice when someone who's supposed to love you betrays you in the worst possible way, smash that subscribe button right now. Hit the like button if you believe in karma and buckle up because this story of revenge is so satisfying it'll give you chills. Trust me, you're going to want to see how this ends. My name is Jenna, and this is a story of how my own family broke my heart and how I completely destroyed their dreams in return. Here's what happened. I'm 29 years old and my life fell apart. 3 months before the story, I lost my job as a graphic designer at a big company. They said it was budget cuts. I was the newest person, so I got fired first. I was running out of money and couldn't pay rent anymore. I had to move back home with my mom, Victoria, and my stepdad, Marcus. I felt like a total failure, almost 30 years old and living in my old bedroom like a teenager. The house felt weird being back there. Every step on the old floors reminded me that I had failed. My old room looked exactly the same. Yellow walls and the same small bed with flowers on the blanket. It was like going back in time, but now I was the family disappointment instead of the smart girl with a bright future. Victoria never let me forget how bad things were for me. "Maybe this will teach you to be more responsible," she would say in that mean voice I remembered from growing up. Not everyone can just get by on being talented. Marcus, her husband, would just nod and agree. He learned that agreeing with Victoria was easier than fighting with her. My stepsister Sophia was 26 and worked as a dental hygienist. She had become the favorite child because she had a steady job, her own apartment, and most importantly, Victoria liked her. Then came that terrible Thursday night in October. I was sitting at our old wooden dinner table, the same one where I used to do homework as a kid. I was eating leftover Chinese food and trying to ignore the excited conversation happening around me. "The travel lady confirmed everything today," Victoria said, her eyes shining with excitement. She pulled out a thick folder full of printed papers and colorful travel brochures. 4 nights in Rome, 3 nights in Florence, and 2 nights in Venice. "It's going to be perfect." Marcus leaned forward and adjusted his glasses. "The wine trips alone are going to be amazing. I've been reading about the wineries for weeks." Sophia made a high-pitched squealing noise like a teenage girl. "And the shopping. Mom, we're going to buy so much stuff. I've been saving money for months just for this trip." I sat there quietly watching all this excitement happen around me. Italy. It had been my dream since I was 12 years old when I did a school project about famous art. I always imagined myself seeing the Sistine Chapel, walking through art museums, throwing a coin in the Trevi Fountain. But I knew I couldn't even dream about going with them. The plane tickets weren't cheap, Victoria continued, spreading out the printed papers like she was dealing cards. $1,800 for each person, but it's worth every penny. This is a once-in-a-lifetime trip. She said this without even looking at me. It was clear that each person didn't include me. I was just there to listen to their excitement, not to be part of it. I felt that sick feeling in my stomach that I'd had since I was a kid. The feeling I got whenever I realized I didn't really belong in this perfect family picture they had created. "That sounds really amazing," I said, forcing a smile that hurt my face. "You guys are going to have the best time." That's when Victoria turned to me with that look. The cold look that could freeze water. "Well, Jenna," she said in that fake sweet voice she used when she was about to say something really mean, "flights are $1,800 each. If you can't afford it, you'll just have to stay behind." Her words hit me like a slap in the face. She didn't say, "We wish you could come, but we know money is tight." She didn't say, "Maybe next time when you get back on your feet." She just coldly kicked me out while pretending to be nice about it. But what she said next was even worse. "Besides," she continued, not even trying to lower her voice, "someone needs to watch the house while we're gone. Think of it as finally earning your keep around here." Sophia actually giggled. She thought it was funny that I was being left out of the family vacation. Marcus said nothing. He just went back to looking at the wine tour brochure like it was the most interesting thing in the world. I felt my face getting hot with embarrassment. Not just because I couldn't afford to go, but because she was being so mean about it in front of everyone. She was making fun of my money problems like it was entertainment for the dinner table. "Of course," I said quietly, my voice barely loud enough to hear. "I'll take good care of the house. I said I was tired and went to bed early, but really, I just couldn't sit there for one more second watching them plan their dream vacation while treating me like I was nothing. I lay in my childhood bed, staring at the ceiling with that old water stain that looked like a rabbit. I felt something inside me get hard and cold. This wasn't just about money. This was about respect. This was about being treated like I mattered, like I was part of this family instead of just a problem they had to deal with. The next morning, I did what I always did, checked my bank account on my phone. It was a sad daily habit I'd started since losing my job. I needed to see exactly how little money I had before I started looking for work. But when I opened the banking app, my blood turned to ice. 4 new charges, each one for exactly $1,847.50. All from Delta Airlines, all made at 11:47 p.m. the night before, just a few hours after our dinner conversation. My hand started shaking as I stared at the screen. Over $7,000 gone just like that. Victoria had used my credit card to buy their plane tickets to Italy. Years ago, when I still had money and a good job, I helped plan several family trips. My credit card was saved on their travel booking website, so it would be easy to use. I had completely forgotten about it, but Victoria clearly remembered. The same woman who just told me I was too poor to join them had stolen my money. Money I really needed for rent, for food, for everything to pay for their expensive vacation. I sat on the edge of my bed, holding my shaking phone, and felt something I had never felt before. Not just anger, not just betrayal. This was pure rage that seemed to flow through my body like fire. But instead of screaming or crying or running downstairs to confront her right away, I did something that surprised even me. I got smart about it. I opened my laptop and went to the airline's website. Finding their booking was easy. It was connected to the same account where my card was saved. 4 seats on a direct flight to Rome, leaving in exactly 3 weeks. Premium economy class. Total cost $7,390. I stared at that confirmation number for a long moment. My mouse was hovering over the cancel booking button, then I clicked it. The feeling was immediate and amazing. Booking canceled. Refunds will be processed within 7 to 10 business days. But I wasn't finished, not even close. I changed every single password on the travel account. I removed all the credit cards. I set up extra security on my phone. I made it impossible for anyone to book even a bus ticket without my permission. Then I called my bank. I need to report fraud. I told the customer service person, my voice steady and calm, even though my heart was racing. "I'm so sorry to hear that," she said with real concern. "Can you tell me which charges you want to dispute?" 4 airline tickets bought without my knowledge using my saved credit card information. The woman was really helpful. She immediately marked the charges as fraud, canceled my card, and promised that new cards would arrive within 2 days. The stolen money would be put back in my account within a week. "I'm really sorry someone did this to you," she said before we hung up. "Having someone steal your identity is such a violation." "Thank you," I said. "You have no idea how violated I feel." The next morning, I was awakened by shouting from downstairs. "What do you mean the booking was canceled?" Marcus was yelling into his phone, his usually calm demeanor completely shattered. "Check your email again." Victoria's voice was shrill with panic. "There has to be some mistake." I could hear frantic typing on their laptop keyboard, followed by more shouting. "The website says the booking doesn't exist. How is that possible?" Then came the sound of footsteps thundering up the stairs. My bedroom door flew open without so much as a knock. Victoria stood there in her bathrobe, her hair disheveled, her face red with fury. "Did you cancel our flights?" she demanded, her voice shaking with rage. I looked up from my phone, where I'd been casually scrolling through job listings, and met her eyes with the calmest expression I could muster. "You told me last night that if I couldn't afford it, I should stay behind," I said evenly. "So, I decided my credit card should stay behind too." For the first time in my entire life, my mother was completely speechless. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. "You can't do this," she finally sputtered. "That was family money." I stood up slowly, feeling taller than I had in months. "Family money?" I repeated, my voice dangerously quiet. "Funny, because last night you made it very clear that I wasn't family enough to be included in this trip. But apparently, I was family enough for you to steal from." "It's not stealing," she shrieked. "We've always shared expenses for family trips." "Shared?" I laughed, and even I was surprised by how bitter it sounded. "Victoria, when exactly did we discuss paying for your vacation? Was it before or after you told me I was too poor to come?" Marcus appeared in the doorway behind her, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else on Earth. "Jenna, be reasonable," he said weakly. "We can work this out." "You're absolutely right," I said, my voice still strangely calm. "I am being reasonable. It's my card, my money, and my choice what to do with it, just like it was your choice to exclude me from your family vacation." Victoria's face was turning an alarming shade of purple. "You're being petty and vindictive." "No," I said, stepping closer to her. "Petty would be hiding your passport or putting salt in your sugar bowl. What you did was theft. What I did was protecting myself from a thief." That's when she really lost it. "After everything we've done for you," she screamed. "We gave you a roof over your head when you couldn't take care of yourself. We fed you. You charged me rent," I interrupted. "You charged me for groceries. You've made it clear every single day that I'm a burden you're graciously tolerating, so don't you dare act like you've been doing me favors out of the goodness of your heart." The argument continued for another 20 minutes, with Victoria screaming about family loyalty and me calmly pointing out the hypocrisy of her position. Marcus tried to play peacemaker, suggesting we could all sit down and work out a payment plan, but I was done negotiating with thieves. Finally, I delivered the words that ended the conversation once and for all. "I've already called the bank and reported the charges as fraud," I said quietly. Because that's exactly what they were. Fraud, theft. The money will be back in my account within a week, and your little Italian vacation is officially canceled. The look of absolute shock and rage on Victoria's face was worth every moment of uncertainty I'd felt since clicking that cancel button. That afternoon, I started looking for my own apartment. The next few months were brutal. I found a tiny studio in a not great neighborhood, but it was mine. The rent ate up most of my unemployment benefits, leaving me practically nothing for food or utilities. I lived on ramen noodles and peanut butter sandwiches. I wore the same 3 outfits on rotation to job interviews, but for the first time in months, I felt free. I also felt motivated in a way I hadn't felt since college. I'd always been interested in web design, but had never tried it seriously. Now, with nothing but time and desperate need, I threw myself into learning everything I could about website design, user experience, and digital marketing. I spent 18 hours a day hunched over my old laptop, teaching myself HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I took every free online course I could find. I designed practice websites for fake businesses just to build my portfolio. My first real client was a small coffee shop in my neighborhood. The owner was an older woman named Ruth. She had seen me working in her shop every day for weeks and finally asked what I was doing. "Learning web design," I told her. "I'm trying to build a new career." She looked at my laptop screen where I was working on a practice online store. "That looks really professional," she said. "Our website is terrible. Some kid built it 5 years ago and we never updated it. Would you want to rebuild it?" I almost choked on my coffee. "Are you serious?" "I can't pay much," she warned. "Maybe $500. To me, it might as well have been $5,000. It was my first real client, my first step toward being independent. The website I built for Ruth was simple but nice-looking, clean design, easy to use with an online ordering system. She loved it, and more importantly, she told her friends about me. Within 2 months, I had 3 more clients. Within 6 months, I was making enough money to move to a 1-bedroom apartment and buy real groceries. A year later, I was making more money than I ever did at my old job. But the best was yet to come. 18 months after the Italy incident, my cousin Jake called me out of the blue. "Hey, Jenna," he said, "your mom told everyone you were too busy with work to come to my engagement party next month." I paused, confused. "Jake, I was never invited to your engagement party." Silence on the other end of the line. "What? That's impossible. Your family. Of course you were invited." So I told him everything. The dinner conversation, the stolen credit card, the canceled flights, moving out and building my business from nothing while eating cheap food every night. "Jesus Christ, Jenna," he said when I finished. "I had no idea. I'm so sorry. And honestly, I'm really proud of what you've built. That takes serious courage." That meant everything to me. Finally, someone in my family understood what I'd been through. 2 years after the Italy debacle, Victoria and Marcus started planning another big trip, Costa Rica. This time, expensive eco-lodges and guided wildlife tours. I wasn't invited again. But I didn't care because that same week I was flying to New York City for a business meeting with a Fortune 500 company that wanted to hire my agency. Yes, agency. Because I'd grown from a freelancer to running a small but successful design firm to redesign their entire digital presence. As I sat in my first-class seat, sipping champagne and reviewing my presentation, I posted a single photo on Instagram, my boarding pass, with the caption, "Business class to NYC. Funny how much you can afford when you earn it yourself." My phone exploded with likes and comments, including several from extended family members who'd apparently been told I was struggling and unemployed, including a long rambling message from Victoria. I didn't read it. I just deleted it and put my phone on airplane mode. 6 months ago, the Fortune 500 company offered me a massive contract to become their exclusive digital design partner. The annual retainer alone was more than I'd made in my entire first year freelancing. Last month, Victoria called me. I let it go to voicemail. "Jenna, honey!" Her voice sounded older and tired. "I saw the article about your company in the business journal. We're so proud of you. Maybe we could have dinner sometime. I'd love to catch up." I deleted the message without finishing it. You see, I don't need her pride anymore. I don't need her approval or her inclusion in family trips or her validation of my choices. I built something she could never understand. A life where my worth isn't determined by other people's opinions of me. The most delicious part of this whole story. Last month, Jake invited me to his wedding. A beautiful ceremony in Napa Valley. All expenses paid for family members because he had done really well for himself in tech. Guess who else was there? Victoria and Marcus, of course. They came up to me during the cocktail hour, all smiles and small talk, acting like nothing had ever happened. "Jenna, you look wonderful," Victoria gushed, reaching out for a hug. I didn't return. "Thank you," I said politely but coldly. "We should really catch up sometime," Marcus added. "Maybe you could tell us about your business. It sounds really interesting." I looked at them both, these people who had made me feel worthless, who had stolen from me when I was at my lowest point, who had left me out of their family while taking my money. And I smiled. "I'm sure you understand," I said sweetly. "But my time is quite expensive these days. I usually charge $300 an hour for business advice." The look on their faces was absolutely priceless. Then I walked away and spent the rest of the evening celebrating with family members who actually cared about me. Here's what I learned from this whole experience. Sometimes the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally are the ones who will hurt you the deepest. But their betrayal doesn't define your worth. Your response to it does. Victoria thought she was teaching me a lesson about my place in the family hierarchy. Instead, she taught me that I was strong enough to build my own empire without her permission or approval. The best revenge isn't always getting even. Sometimes it's proving them wrong so spectacularly that their opinions become irrelevant. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more tales of justice served cold. Drop a comment telling me about the most satisfying comeback you've ever witnessed. I read every single one, and your story might inspire someone else who's going through their own betrayal. Until next time, remember your worth isn't determined by how others treat you, but by how you choose to treat